So, as a modern day small business owner or manager, you probably relate to the gentleman standing here on the beach sometimes. Um, since the pandemic started, there's just been a surge of pandemic induced challenges, supply chain shortages, and public health mandates, leading to resignations, decline in employee morale. And although there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to managing a business, one thing we do know is that every year just brings more challenges for you as a growing business as new laws and regulations are passed. And among the tsunami of topics, we know these are some of the top HR and compliance challenges that small businesses are facing every day. We also know that the average business spends about 10 hours a week searching for answers to growing HR and compliance related issues. This amounts to almost 500 hours a year in lost productivity. 63% of organizations are turning to law firms or other paid consultants. This costs thousands of dollars, days or weeks in lead time. And to be honest, this is just a luxury that a lot of small businesses just simply can't afford. Because of those budget constraints, 1 in 5 result to using search engines like Google to find answers to really complex and personal HR compliance issues. So I know that we all rely on Google a lot, right? It can be an amazing tool, but it can be pretty dangerous to rely on the internet when it comes to managing your most valuable assets, especially in a highly regulated field like HR and compliance, where one wrong or misguided answer can result in serious consequences for your business. And so with that, we have our second poll question, and we would like to know, how do you currently find answers to your HR challenges? Are you turning to the NJBIA Support Center? Are you using Google or search engines like 1 in 5 businesses today? Do you have the luxury of attorneys and paid consultants? Do you have an in-house HR pro or HR team, or some other magical way that you are finding answers? And it could be a mixture of these resources. So go ahead and just pick, your main go-to where you go to find answers. We'll give everyone 5 more seconds. All right, we'll go ahead and close it out. Okay, and look at the results. All right, so we're pretty spread across the board here. I will take this time to call out that NJBIA does have a HR support center, which everybody should have access to, and that is a really amazing resource that they're providing to you, complimentary. And then, of course, Google attorneys, in-house pros, and other, those can be complemented at times. So thank you for participating in our poll. Okay, with that, I'll pass it off to my wonderful colleague, Stacia. She's going to provide you with a live walkthrough of HR On Demand, which is the largest and most credible HR hotline in the country.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stacia once again, and I'm one of the customer success managers. And I'll be presenting HR On Demand with a live walkthrough for you all. So before that, I just want to preface with some information. HR goes way beyond employee benefits, hiring, and firing. You've got to stay compliant with state and federal laws, maintain employee job descriptions, and you have to stay up to date with your employee handbooks and make sure everyone is trained properly. HR and compliance are complicated, but it doesn't have to be with HR On Demand. Our HR pros are an integral piece of the HR support center because we do recognize how impactful it is to have that human element where you can bounce ideas off of, guide you through HR challenges, or get information on the latest laws. Our team is comprised of senior level folks who answer over 200,000 questions a year, which include all 50 states, federal level regulations, benefit questions, and more. So with HR On Demand, you have a huge wealth of knowledge at your fingertips because all of our HR pros are certified with a PHR and SPHR, and we require at least 10 years of experience for them to get on this team. We also have members that are specialized in OSHA and benefits, so you can truly feel confident when you're reaching out to our team. Now, odds are you may be facing a few HR challenges that you may need help navigating through, and you don't have to be an HR expert in all topics or even pretend to be one. We know you have a challenging job already, and that's why our HR On Demand team is available to cut down some of your legwork. So some topics that we can help with include conflict resolution, leave of absence, policy review, wage and hours, and more. Our team can also guide you through unexpected cases such as short-term disability, FMLA, and COBRA. And with HR On Demand, you have unlimited access to our certified team of HR experts. And so next, I'm going to show you all how you can access them by phone or through online submission. So HR On Demand is in the top navigation of the HR Support Center. And to access it, you'll simply just hover over the HR On Demand tab here. And in your drop-down menu, you'll have an upgrade option when you're ready. So we have 4 key services under HR On Demand, and I'm going to go through all of them with you today. Our flagship feature is called Ask the Pros. This is where you can actually pick up the phone and get in touch with a human and get an immediate response to your inquiries. These can be minor to complex employee issues or seeking clarity on the latest laws. Our team can break down complicated legalese into simple to understand terms and give you the guidance on how to handle the situation. So on the left-hand side, you'll see that we spotlight a member of our team. And what you can do is you can press learn more to learn a bit about them. So their certification, their years of experience, their biography, and reasons why they love being an HR pro. Now over to your right here, you'll see the team's phone number and you can review their availability. They are available to you Monday through Friday for 12 hours a day. And this is something I'd recommend saving their number when you get a chance into your phone so you can easily access them when needed. You'll also see our promise to respond to your question in 1 business day. And this is for Ask the Pros. In the middle here, you'll get a brief information about submitting your inquiry. And this is how you submit it. You'll select the state that your question pertains to. And if you don't see it listed here, you just press Edit My States and update your profile. And then you will type in your inquiry here. You can attach a relevant file. And then you can update your contact information or just verify that it's correct. Once you're done, you just press submit and then go straight to our team. So that's Ask the Pros. Let's touch on the next service here under HR On Demand. The next one we're going to review is document and policy customization. All right, so as you're building out your company's HR forms and policies, job descriptions, maybe even letters, our team can revise those documents for you that you're creating and make sure that you have all the necessary or key information to complete your documents or policies. The turnaround time for policies and document customization is 3 days to allow quality. Next up under HR On Demand, we are going to touch on employee handbooks. So our philosophy is we believe that an up-to-date and compliant handbook is the best line of defense that a business can have between itself and any risks that it may encounter, such as an audit, a lawsuit, or even any day-to-day HR questions. With HR On Demand, you can create an Express Handbook with our Express Handbook Builder, which is an easy self-service tool that walks you through each step of creating a foundational and compliant handbook. All you have to do is answer a few questions about your company. You can add up to 3 of your own policies to be reviewed by our team. And our HR pros will create a new custom handbook that will be delivered to you electronically. Now, after you submit all your inquiries, whether it's a question with Ask the Pros or any document or policy customization or your handbook, the way you can track them is through My Tickets here. So My Tickets will be pretty much a running list of all the questions that you've ever submitted to our HR team. And you can always go back and reference them there. So when you come in here, this is only visible to you as a user. So in other words, when you submit an inquiry, no one from your company will see it for personal and security reasons. So at the end of the day, the HR pros will give you peace of mind so you can focus more on the business. You don't have to go down the rabbit hole of Google or source through pages and pages of content. Our team has years of experience to quickly provide the information that you are looking for. And not only do they know the information and can access it quickly, but they also stay on top of the latest laws and regulations so that you don't have to. If you're not sure where to turn to for HR advice, remember that you would have access, unlimited access to our certified HR team, and you can always reach out to them. All you have to do is pick up the phone, give them a call, and you'll get a live, real person to help you. So that wraps up our walkthrough of HR on Demand. At this time, I would like to introduce our special guest, Ray, who is one of our certified and experienced HR on Demand advisors.
Thank you so much for the intro, Stacia. I appreciate that. If we could just grab the next slide, which has a little bit more about me. And while we're waiting to bring that up, I could just tell you my name is Ray Rokicki. I have 14 plus years of HR experience, and I also instruct at William Patterson. I do SHRM approved courses for continuing education as well as for various different SHRM certifications. I've spent time in payroll. I've dealt with benefits with LOAs, as well as accommodation requests under the Americans with Disabilities Act, as well as working through FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act, in terms of intermittent leaves, as well as up to the 12 weeks maximum allowed. I've also dealt with 401k, and in terms of eligibility, safe harbor, all of those pieces that fall into it. I am born and raised in New Jersey, from Bayonne. Don't hold Bayonne against me. And currently, I'm up in Morris County in Denville. But a good chunk of my HR experience was started and was gotten in New Jersey. Since then, I've supported at various times pretty much every state in one way or another, including California, which is probably one of the most rigorously difficult states to deal with, although it may not feel that way if you're interacting with New Jersey requirements. And so if I can get the next slide, and while we're bringing up the next slide, one of the things that we talked about was what are some of the things that we can talk about that would be helpful, that might illustrate some of the questions that we get, some of the more common questions that we get in particular. And so we did some reflection, and based on the calls that I get and my team gets, we decided that we would start with these three, right? And these are the types of calls that I get on a somewhat regular basis. And one of the most common questions we get is it okay to simply have everybody work as an independent contractor, right? Can we just make everybody a 1099 because it's easier? I cut them a check at the end of the year, or I cut them a check every 2 weeks or whatever the contract might say. And then at the end of the year, there's just less paperwork involved. And if it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. And the answer to that is maybe. But there's a lot of potential risk that's involved in that. And one of the things that we can do when you call in is we talk through what the difference between a 1099 individual is and a W-2 employee in terms of control, in terms of the Department of Labor requirements, the IRS tests, the various different types of questions that you want to ask to ensure that you're classifying individuals correctly. Because the risk that comes from misclassifying someone is that you may owe, if you misclassify them as an independent contractor, you may owe back pay, you may owe overtime, you may owe penalty payments, right? And as we know, all of those things start to add up, especially if you're a smaller, medium-sized business, right? Everything is important from a budget perspective and from your P&L. So you definitely don't want to simply say 1099 is the easiest, because while it may feel that way, the reality is that you can partner with us to make sure that you're classifying correctly and you have a confidence level and a comfort level that you're classifying correctly, as opposed to simply doing it and not realizing the risk that you're taking on as an organization. And can I get the next slide, please? Another one that we get quite a bit, even though the sick time law has been around for quite a while, it feels like, and it has been here in New Jersey, is am I covered by sick time? If I'm a very small employer in New Jersey. And oftentimes we start to get this question when people have their second or their third employee and someone starts asking about, hey, I'm gonna, be ill, can I use my sick time? And people are sometimes covered, but I'm one who's on the call today. But one of the other pieces is that we talk through not just what it looks like and are you covered by it, but we can also start to talk through what the accrual rates are, what your different options are in terms of how to make sure that your employees are getting sick time correctly. What's the best option for your organization? Do you front load it? Do you let them do the accrual rate of 1 per every 30 hours worked? We can also talk through what the caps are. It's not just you can get time throughout the whole year. We review what some of the abilities you have as an employer are to, manage this, to set some parameters so that you can, control, what your employees are doing, as well as making sure that you're being compliant with the requirements, with the law, with all of the different pieces that come into it. Because at the end of the day, what you really want to stay focused on is not just, am I compliant? But also, am I able to explain what it is and how I'm doing it to my employees? And part of the resource that we offer is getting on the phone with us so that we can talk it through and not just say, here's what you need to do or have to do. Here's how you can do it. Here's why you want to do it. And here's the best way to make sure that you're communicating it effectively to your employees. These are, again, this is a risk that some organizations run into where, you've been operating, as a small business of one, and now you're getting your first, your second employee. The tools that we offer are the ability to speak to the things that you don't know, or you might not know, because this is the world that we live in based on, our career decisions, based on my experience. And so we can start to talk about as you expand in size, right? As you get from 1 employee to 2, as you get from, 14 to 15, these are the new laws. These are what you're going to have to be aware of going forward. And it dovetails a lot of times when we have these conversations about sick leave, right? How many employees do you have? What are some of the other requirements that you might have to follow to ensure that you're maintaining that level of compliance? And so these are the types of conversations. I don't want it to come across as when you call in, it's simply, am I covered by sick leave? And the answer is yes. And that's the end of the call, right? We have those conversations. We talk through what some of those things look like. We talk through what some of the tools and resources are that are available to you on the website, and then how you can call back in if you have additional questions. And if I can get the last slide for my section, please. Thank you. And so this is one of the ones that we deal with on a really frequent basis, right? Which is, this person's not working out. New Jersey's an at-will state. I can just terminate them, right? And the answer is, in theory, yes, you can. We are an at-will state. But the reality of the situation is that the number of protections that employees enjoy under the law in New Jersey, as well as at the federal level, it really starts to come down to a conversation about risk tolerance and about what the reasons are. We also, when we're on the phone, we can start to talk through what some of the documentation requirements are, why it's a best practice to have documentation. If it's a performance issue, why we would want to put someone on a performance improvement plan, what the document would look like, what the conversations with the employee would look like when you're sitting down to issue them. It's important that you have the ability to defend your actions, right? And from an HR standpoint, documentation is where it comes in terms of that defensive standpoint, so that you can say this had nothing to do with who this person is. The reason these employment decisions were made were because of their actions or their lack of actions, their lack of performance in their role. And these were the multiple attempts that we gave them in an effort to correct the behavior. We told them, we talked it through. And these are the conversations we had, right? In terms of, how do I sit someone down and have this difficult conversation? What are some of the tools that we can use? What are some of the different ways I can phrase these things and use these documents to make sure that not only am I protecting myself, but that I'm giving the employee the understanding of what the next steps are for them, but also what the clear expectations are for the change in their behavior. And so I know that those we kind of moved through relatively quickly, and I know that those were all 30,000 foot overviews. But those are what some of the calls would look like. Those are some of the most common topics that we get, but you're not limited to those, right? If you choose to call in, you can call in with any of your HR issues, and we can, start to have the conversation about what next steps might look like, what best practices might be in that type of scenario. And with that, I'm going to go ahead. I'll hand it right back to you, Alyssa, if that's okay.
Of course. Thank you, Ray. We really appreciate your time. And as usual, that was all really helpful information. So in addition to calling into the HR On Demand hotline and speaking to Ray or one of his fellow experts, the HR On Demand service also includes e-alerts that are curated with content from our experts. So these are meant to be proactive, where you don't have to dial the number and call, or you don't have to submit a ticket. These alerts are going to deliver critical HR compliance information directly to your inbox. There's three main types of these alerts. So the first are the HR snapshots. These offer a real-time look at trending HR topics with an answer from one of our experts. And then the next type of alerts, go ahead and click, is that these are the law alerts. And these are vital for guiding your business through the constantly changing state and federal legislation. And we definitely, this is one of the flagship offerings of our service. These come in handy a lot. This recent one is from August 11th, but we'll send these alerts out like before, obviously, the law takes effect. So we're giving you that heads up. Hey, this passed. Here's everything you need to know about it. And the great thing is that these alerts are written in really clear, simple terms. So there's no legal jargon that, a small business owner or somebody who wears a lot of hats can't understand. So these are meant for people who are not in HR. They do not practice employment law. They're written in a way that's very readable and understandable. So you can take that information, digest it, and as Ray mentioned, be able to explain it to your employees or fellow managers. And then if we click again, we have our third type of alert, and these are the HR Advisor newsletters. So these deliver key HR advice on the first business day of every month. So overall, these three different types of alerts really help complement that live service that we offer. It further eliminates your need to do anything. It just comes right to your inbox. And we've gotten a lot of really great feedback from NJBIA clients that they open these a lot. They love these. So hopefully some of you on our call today, these are familiar to you, and you've gotten some value when you open them. All right, next slide. So when it comes to our small business clients, I wanted to give a few testimonials just to help highlight some of the reasons why clients have opted to upgrade to HR On Demand. So Michelle here, she's a small business owner, and she just found the extreme ease and knowledge of the service immeasurable. Her only regret is that she opted for it years sooner. So we love hearing testimonials like that. And then the next testimonial comes from Miriam. She's a retail client, and she reached out to us about furlough compliance. And then HR On Demand gave her that guidance to stay compliant and help during a really difficult transition to make that easy for her employees. And at the end of the day, not only did it give her peace of mind to act legally, but it was in the best interest of her stakeholders. And our final testimonial is from Hillary, who's in the fitness industry. And she just thought the HR experts were great because not only did they answer her existing questions, but other questions came up during the call that she hadn't thought about. So as Ray mentioned, right, they're your partner. They're talking you through these challenges, not just answering the one question you called about. They're making sure that you understand the entire context of the topic at hand. All right, and with that, Betty, I'll pass it over to you just to highlight some of the main features of the service.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Alicia, Stacia, and Ray. So I routinely get questions like Ray presented from our members, and the Support Center and the On-Demand resource are great resources for our members. We continue to even get questions about extended sick leave absences that are new for some of our businesses because they've never dealt with it before, and these resources can help you navigate those issues. So just a quick reminder that NJBIA members have access to the base HR Support Center for free as a benefit of membership. And membership starts as low as $345. The HR On Demand is then an additional $300 for a year. And for that, you receive all of the services and resources that the team told you about today. And this is an amazing price based on what other similar services can cost business. Again, you get that unlimited live advice via chat, telephone, or email 5 days a week, 8 to 8. Incredible responsiveness from the team there. Question and answer history. You can go back and see the questions that you've asked if the same issue keeps arising. The custom handbook is really, really important these days. That's really a defense for you if something goes wrong in the business. Again, the COVID-19 help, and it's incredibly easy to use. Since you're here with us today, though, we've got a great offer for you. And just by listening, you're eligible for a free 60-day HR On Demand trial. The link for that trial will be sent in the follow-up email, and I think it's on the next slide. So here we go. So if you just click on that link or use that link, you'll be eligible for a 60-day free trial for the on-demand service. And after that, you can cancel at any time, decide if you want to move forward with it. That's all I have. Stacia, Alyssa, Ray, back to you for one closing.
Yeah, thank you. We just, once again, really appreciate everybody joining us today, taking these 30 minutes to discuss how this service can really provide a lot of value to your organization. And we really hope that everybody takes advantage of the 60-day free trial so that you can actually experience the benefits. And from there, if you have any additional questions, as Betty mentioned, please feel free to reach out to the member services at njbia.org.